Addiction is not a disease. It's not even a state of being. Being drunk, that's a state of being. What we call addiction is a pattern of behavior, a pattern of problematic substance use that is reinforced by psychological, social, and biological experience. In Peru, this interaction between humans and alcohol costs men more disability-adjusted years of life lost than diabetes, lower respiratory infections, than car accidents. You know how bad traffic is in Lima? But let's take that in real quick. Disability-adjusted years of life lost. That includes early deaths. Let's focus on the psychological part of this for a second. If you try to seek help from a mental health professional anywhere in the world, but especially in Peru, they will tell you that they cannot help you, and they will send you to a specialist. But the treatment gap for addiction and substance use in Peru was 69% in the capital, and more than 80% in the rest of the country. That means that only a small percentage of people are actually able to access care. That's actually around 2.5 million people suffering with problematic substance use and who aren't able to access treatment. That's because there aren't enough specialists. There aren't enough people trained to handle problematic substance use, but there could be. I bring up this example from Portugal, who in 2000 had the worst opioid addiction problem in Europe. That same year, 2000, they decided to decriminalize all drugs and focus their health apparatus to provide health services to people who use substances problematically in their country. A decade later, opioid addiction had fallen by 50%. Now, what are the chances of doing a reform and making something like this happen in Peru when the activists, the politicians, the families who seek an understanding about substance use approach doctors who are constantly discriminating against and rejecting people who use substances from their practices? So a year ago, this organization, Harm Reduction Peru, set out to educate and make mental health professionals in Peru the best advocates for their patients who use substances. In July of 2021, we put together a 4-week training with help of professionals here from the United States, and we enrolled 53 professional psychotherapists from all over the country, all over the capital, and different organizations, and we graduated 40. After that, we wanted to turn this into an online course because our experience and discovery interviews then taught us that this just wasn't enough. This was a big change in perspective for a lot of the people, and we needed something permanent and something really, really thorough, and we just didn't have that. We decided to make an online course so that we could keep access going. The problem was that online education is not big in the space of psychological training, continuing education for psychologists in Latin America. And so I brought my own pedagogical expertise and the help of connections to start building out an online course, and this was my final project, was piloting this course. We went about it in 3 phases. We used recordings from our initial training and used that to build the skeleton of the course. We built a syllabus, we put the readings, we put the resources, and we handed that to experts in harm reduction, both in the US and in Latin America. They gave us feedback, and with that feedback, we were able to build some more resources and then open up the course with all the material uploaded to a platform to professionals in the community, original graduates from our original course. They gave us feedback about how much they liked these resources, infographics, worksheets that they could use with patients, and even though that was a small part of our course, we made a big investment, delayed our timetable, and started building a lot more of these personalized resources that they could use with patients into the course. We then went into a 3rd phase of feedback, and we're able to include a few more of these resources as more people came into the course and were bringing their own materials to the table. But what was most important about that last phase of feedback was the overall engagement with the course. And we learned that people really needed motivation in order to complete such a thorough and robust curriculum. So we partnered with the Harm Reduction Therapy Center, and we're now building a paid track for certification so that therapists who take our online course can then enter into a certification course and get something that's official, entitles them, and differentiates them in the market. This also adds more credentials to what we provide. And we created a paid live component for enterprise training. So this is something where we can have our professionals accompany the students as they go through the course so that they can pace their learning, and then they can, if they want, sign up for the paid track. But this would be great, and we've already started talking to government agencies and to institutions who potentially are potential clients of this. So what does this mean in the long term? In the long term, what we want to do is answer the question, can a holistic intervention about problematic substance use have an impact in Peru? What we want to do is pick a geography, donate our professional trainings to the professionals in that community, give free access to assisted resources to the residents of that community, and then build a public awareness campaign and measurement surveys so that we can see whether what we're doing is having an impact and we can guide that effort. Everything that we do from now on, all the pedagogical products we make, all the research that we do, will go with this vision in mind, with the goal of actually changing policy and making a big change. I want to make sure I thank, at the end of this presentation, the partners that we've put together, including nonprofits in Peru, in the United States. I want to thank my advisor, Keenan Joyner, who runs the research center here at Berkeley and has generously partnered with us. And this is my team, without whom I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. Thank you. All right, questions?